drunk right now. But I did a sober month recently. Have any of y'all done that? Where you're like, yo, am I a drug addict or a fun guy? So I took a month off drugs and alcohol, and I realized about a weekend I didn't have any healthy coping mechanisms. So I was like, well, what did you used to do before you started drugs and alcohol? And I was like, well, you were 12. And you would escape to a magical wizarding world of Harry Potter. And then you turned 13, someone gave you vodka, you were like, well, at least liquor is real. So I was like, all right, maybe well, before I tell the rest of this, I should say that I'm a black person, but I'm the kind of black guy that has to announce it to the room before I tell a race joke. Otherwise, everybody's like, yo, this Indian kid is super racist. Like, I'm aware I look like the Taliban's jazz instructor. But I was like, all right, let me read a book and escape through literature. So I went to my bookshelf, and I wanted to feel like I accomplished something, so I picked the shortest book I had. It's 145 pages. It's called Negroes with Guns. And it was written by a bunch of black civil rights era academics who posit that peaceful nonviolent protest is inherently racist because it demands that the oppressed party politely ask permission to be treated like an equal. And the only real way racial harmony can ring true in America is if we arm the black community and the streets run red with white blood. And I read that shit, I was like, yo, I gotta start drinking again. Like, I'm getting ideas. But then I was like, that's not fair, man. Maybe peace is the best option. That's what white people are always saying. So I decided to look up Martin Luther King, because I feel like white people think black people know a lot about MLK. But really, the only thing I know about Dr. King is that of all the civil rights leaders, he is white people's favorite. Because Malcolm X was like, yo, stop being racist or I'll fucking kill you. And white people were like, that doesn't really work for us. And Huey Newton, the Panthers, were like, yo, stop being racist or we'll fucking kill you. White people were like, that still sounds weird when you say it for some reason. And then MLK was like, yo, stop being racist or I'll write a strongly worded letter. White people were like, this is our guy. Somebody give this nigga a day. So I read about MLK, and it turns out he's way more radical than I gave him credit for. Shortly before he was assassinated, someone interviewed him, and they asked him how he felt about integrating black Americans into white society. And he said, I feel as if I've led my people into a burning building. Because he realized that the flaws of colonialism ran so deep that even if racism was miraculously solved, it would still face a blight of issues we couldn't control. And after I read that, I was like, all right, looks like I'm buying a fucking gun. And at first I wanted to go to a black-owned gun store, give my money back to my community, but it turns out they don't let those happen very often. So I had to go to a white gun store, which was terrifying, because I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna turn around to leave this gun store with my gun, get shot in the back 6 times. Dude's gonna be like, well, he had a gun. Like, I was freaking out. So I was like, okay, I went in, I gave the guy my information. He was like, all right, that'll be 10 days. I was like, well, I think it should be longer, but I don't make the rules. And then I left, and I immediately went to a safe store, because I want to be a responsible gun owner. And they've got all sorts of crazy good safes these days. They've got one where you have to enter a 20 different digit code so that they know it's you. They've got one where you need to enter in 2 different fingerprints so that they know it's you. What they don't have, that I think they should have, is a safe that asks how you're doing before it opens up. Just like, yo, dude, you reading manifestos again? Because call your mother. So I have this safe that don't know what's best for me, and I took it home, and I got this book of different gun options, this magazine of things I could buy. I was flipping through it. I actually left it on my dining room table. My white friend Alex came over. He was like, Curtis, what's this? Are you thinking about buying a gun? I was like, yeah. He was like, why? I was like, because I gotta kill all you motherfuckers. And then he told me something that I did not know, which is that if you qualify to own a firearm, the United States government has to give you a registry. That's the Second Amendment, whether we like it or not. But individual gun stores aren't owned by the state, but by sole proprietors who have the right to refuse you service for whatever reason they want. Which means even though they're not supposed to, sometimes they'll take your personal information and search for you online to make sure your politics match up with theirs, and they're comfortable giving you a weapon. And I didn't know that. So I went online and searched my name. And it turns out that without me knowing it, someone at a show had taken out their cell phone and recorded me telling an early version of this joke. And they uploaded it to YouTube with the caption, Black comedian Curtis Cook calls for white genocide. Which is objectively what I'm doing. But I'm doing it in like a cute way. So I was like, fuck, I guess I'm not getting a gun. And then I went back 10 days later, and as soon as I walked through the door, the guy behind the register was like, yeah, I saw that video of you on YouTube. And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, and I think the most important thing about the Second Amendment is it allows Americans to defend their freedoms no matter what. And I was like, yeah. And then he slid a revolver across the counter and said, go get him, Tiger. So when the race war comes, I got 6 of you and I'm out, because I do not know how to use that gun.